guys, welcome to Amy's Autopsy Report. My name's Amy. This video is going to be a question and answer video. I posted on my Instagram page and also here on YouTube a few days ago asking for questions you may have, and then I would answer them in an upcoming video. Well, I'm going to do that video right now. So I got about 12 questions, and so yeah, let's get into the questions. I got some good ones too. First question is from Serena Bobinas. The first question she asked, she has two questions. Oh, and by the way, this video may contain some language. I just need to let people know that because there are kids that watch my channel. So if you don't care about that, then that's fine. But I don't want to be the one to explain to your kid what things mean. So here we go. Serena Bobinas asks, the first question she asks is your favorite Poe tale. I am a massive Edgar Allan Poe fan. I have read all of his stories and poems. My all-time favorite is probably the first one I ever read, which is The Telltale Heart. So that is my favorite one. And I actually have a 5-volume set of Poe, the works of Edgar Allan Poe that my brother gave me. That is, I think, from 1902, and it's a pretty awesome set. I should have gotten it out to show you guys, but I didn't think about it. Serena's next question is a fuck, marry, kill. Okay, so my choices are Candyman, Leatherface, and Victor Crowley. Okay, I am going to kill Leatherface. I'm going to fuck Victor Crowley, and I'm going to marry Candyman. Basically, no matter what I choose is a terrible, terrible choice there. Because I definitely have to kill Leatherface because he freaks me out. Okay, next question is from Big Ol' Geek. What is your favorite Universal monster? The creature from the Black Lagoon, with a close second being the Metaluna mutant. Those are my favorites. But I really love all of those films. Next question is from Nikki6454. If you could live in any house that's been in a horror movie or TV show, what would it be? Well, that's a good question. There's a couple, actually. I would probably pick the house on Amity Island from Jaws. See all the Jaws I've got back here, like here and here, because it's a beachfront property. The other option I would pick would be the Evil Dead cabin because I have this ultimate goal to someday build a cabin in the woods and go off the grid. So when I do that, I'm going to have my cabin built as an Evil Dead replica. So yeah, the honest to God truth is probably going to be the Evil Dead cabin because that's probably where I'll end up. That was a good question. Grind Artie from Instagram says, this is a funny one. What's more impressive, eating an entire cheesecake and drinking an entire 2-liter of 7-Up in less than 5 minutes, or slaughter a busload of school kids? Both are impressive, but what do you think? Both are impressive. I think I'm going to have to say that slaughtering a busload of school kids would be more impressive because the person that does that has some serious issues. And I would be impressed if saddened yet impressed that they would be able to do something like that. Manda Cisco from Instagram, who sent me an awesome birthday present that you see up here, right out over in here, asks me, would you do a 30-day vegan challenge? Absolutely. I am already a vegetarian, for those of you who don't know, and I've been a vegetarian for the majority of my life. I have gone vegan for periods of time. I think 8 months to a year is probably the longest I've gone. The only issue I have with it is that, first of all, I raise chickens, and so I have eggs from the chickens. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't eat eggs at all. But since I know where they're coming from, I don't have a problem with it. The other issue is that I live in a very small town, and so a lot of the vegan options are just not available here. I would have to do a lot of online ordering in order to maintain that for very long. But yeah, I could definitely do a 30-day vegan challenge. I've been vegan before for 8 months to a year, I think is about the longest. But yeah. Next question is from Camp Crystal Blake. What's the sexiest death scene in horror? That is going to be the chainsaw death in American Psycho. And if you've ever seen that, you know why. Because Christian Bale is naked and running around with a chainsaw to kill his victim. That's the best. Okay, the next one is from Hannah Loves Horror. Favorite creature feature. Wow. I love creature features so much. I don't know if I could just pick one. I'm going to say my three favorites would be Ghoulies, Critters, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Out of those three, gosh, I don't know. I can't pick one. Next question is from Bleeding Skull 77. What's your favorite 80s slasher? My favorite 80s slasher. Gosh, there are many. I guess that's a tough one. I guess I would probably have to go with the movie Maniac. That movie is a slasher that actually creeps me out. It's such a creepy movie. If you've not seen Maniac, I think it's from early 80s. Maybe it's from the late 70s. But I'm gonna go with Maniac because that one it strays from the main franchises like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. So I wanted to pick something that strays from those. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Maniac. Z_Haith, other than cover art, why do people collect VHS? Well, if I leave out nostalgia and cover art, the main reason I collect VHS, aside from that, is that VHS to me is like the closest thing left to actual film. When I used to go to the movies as a kid, I was watching movies being projected on film, 35 millimeter film, 72 millimeter film. I went to film school, and what we worked on was actual film. We weren't doing anything digitally, so I feel like VHS is like one of the last forms of physical media left, other than buying 16 millimeter reels of film and projecting them, or 35 millimeter reels. So that is why I collect VHS, because I want to stay as close to the original film medium as I can, and that is the way to do it. And I also enjoy the fact that when you watch a film on tape or from reels, you are getting the graininess of the film. People like to add that stuff in digitally now, and it just looks ridiculous. And I was actually thinking of putting fake VHS grain on this video when I'm done, seeing if I can do it. And it looks so hilariously bad because it's like, it just doesn't look realistic. But that is why I collect VHS. Let's see, Geeking It Casual is asking, do you prefer a heroic survivor in your horror films or a more bleak ending? I really like both. The one of the bleak endings, there are a couple of movies that have the bleak endings. Cabin in the Woods is pretty bleak, and so is Stephen King's The Mist. Both of those movies I really loved, and I loved the endings that they had. But I also love to have a hero so that there's somebody I can root for. I think I prefer the hero, honestly, because a lot of times when it has a super bleak ending, even though I like the ending, it's just, I don't know. Like, I cried in the movie theater when I watched The Mist, and then I was mad because I cried in the movie theater. So I'm going to go with a heroic ending. Lita Ferry, what is the most fun effects you have ever done? That is such a great question. That might be my favorite question. I could go on about that for days, to be honest. If I had to pick one, there was a short film I worked on that it was like a parody. It was like a horror comedy. And it was a short film, and I don't remember the name of it. I don't even know if it ever was finished, if the director ever finished it. But one of the things we had to do was this guy gets his arm ripped off from the shoulder socket, and we had to make the shoulder socket like shoot, just spray blood, like a ridiculous amount of blood. It had to like shoot out like a hose. And I built the arm prop for that, which was rigged with a tube coming out of like the severed arm, so that the arm was severed from the shoulder out, and it had tubes coming out of the end of the arm this way, or no, this way, the cut off arm. And I made it so that the severed arm itself sprayed blood out of the artery, and then we made it so that the shoulder blade, or the shoulder socket, actually shot just gallons of blood out of the shoulder. And that was probably the most fun. We had to cover everything in plastic that day. And we had 5-gallon buckets of fake blood made up. And I think we used pumps. We actually threw pumps in the buckets that would pump it out and would shoot it out at this high rate of speed. And then the severed arm prop that I made, I had a pump bottle in my hand because I was the one holding on the other end of the rig and squeezing it. So I was pump squeezing it, and it was shooting out like as an artery would spurt. That was probably my favorite. That was also the messiest one I've ever done. That's an awesome question. Laura's Looney Bin. What horror movie can you not watch alone, and tell us a real life ghost story? Unfortunately, I have to watch all my horror movies alone because most of my friends are not into horror movies that much, and so I am left alone to watch them all. There are some that I would prefer to not watch at home. Some of the monster movies I watch, sometimes those get to me, to believe it or not, even though monsters are ridiculous. Because of the fact that the house here has barns all the way in the back, and so I go out every night in the dark to the barns, and then I constantly think I hear noises, and I think it's Bigfoot, and I have come running back into the house before. So that, another movie that I hate to watch by myself is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because that movie scares me so bad. But I still put myself through it because I don't have anybody else to watch it with. Tell us a real life ghost story. I don't know about that one. I have some, but yeah, I don't know. People might think I'm a crazy person, so I might keep that to myself. Let me think. Let me think of one that's like, no, I think I'm just going to leave that. Thank you, everyone, for asking questions. I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you like this video, give me a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram at Amy's Autopsy Report, and I will catch you guys in the next one.